All right, call to order the Deerfield Parks and Recreation Commission meeting on May 2nd. I'll note that Amy is not here, and Melissa has put in her notice and she is done, so we have an opening to fill, which we'll talk about a little bit. Minutes of the April meeting. Somebody make a motion to...
Motion to accept meetings as written. I had no issues.
None.
Second.
All right, anybody have any additions or comments to them? We're good? Okay, all in favor of accepting them, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, citizens' comments. Not a lot of citizens, but I did get a letter or an email from Derek Hopkins expressing some concerns with the Major League Baseball. I did forward it on you. I got it late this afternoon, so I don't know who got it, had a chance to look at it, but Dwight and I have talked about it. Nick had it and Kevin, and I'm not going to read his email, but I will bring up three highlights, comments that he was concerned with, and Nick has had a chance to give a response to it too, so we'll do that now. One of his issues, I guess there were 4 players of major league level, and unfortunately we couldn't get them to stay on the same team together. They had to get split up. So they're in Northwood,
Auburn, and 2 are in Raymond, or they had 2 places in Raymond.
Okay.
Yep.
I think you want to expand on that a little bit, or just?
Sure. Majors in the past has been done with Candia, Deerfield and Candia together. This year that was not an option. That was originally the plan, and Candia had some kids that had to step down and not play this year. So Candia was unable to join with Deerfield for a combined team this year. So that was kind of late in the game as far as registration goes. The other towns at that point had their majors teams pretty well set. Asking the Lamprey River Board to kind of check into options and where they might be able to help us. We found that Northwood, Auburn, and Raymond had either 1 or 2 spots on each team. And being at the goal that we wanted just to give the kids all a place to play, that's how we best were able to give them an opportunity. So yeah, Northwood and Auburn each had 1 spot, and Raymond had 2 that they offered. So we wanted to at least give them the option to get out there and play this year, so that's what we did.
Right. Another comment issue we had was he was asking about money being paid to the towns that these kids are playing in. And I think, talking to Nick, the kids that registered in Deerfield, what we'll do is send the Deerfield registration fee to the towns that they're registered to.
Correct.
That'll be it. And I think you said, there were 2 in Raymond that hadn't signed up.
Yeah, the 2 in Raymond we've been unable to touch base with. I can make another effort there too. But that was a matter of figuring out, do we give the money right to Raymond even if they're not playing, or we just reimburse the parents. So we just have to figure out who to reimburse. We're not holding the money to Deerfield. It's going to go where it needs to go. So.
I have a question on, in terms of, there's also something earlier about Candia not getting some money from last year, apparently. I guess, no,
Go ahead.
NA, not applicable, or just untrue, not.
Yeah, we haven't really looked into that one yet, so.
Oh, okay, well, I
try to
guess
get some more
my question is, in terms of, how generally it goes, I get a bill, I pay it, is there a billing system? Like, okay, Candy at the end of the year goes, okay, we had 5-year guys, here's the bill for the uniforms. Is there or is it just kind of loose, and that's how things get missed, I guess.
Yeah.
And I assume Candia sent us something
Yeah.
to cue us in, because if, I wouldn't remember it with everything that's going on.
Right, I was unaware of that.
Okay,
that
so-
situation. So what I plan to do is reach out to Candia and see, where we
Yeah,
need to square up.
absolutely,
and
if
just
they
do
need the
that.
money, get squared.
But yeah, in any situation where we pair up with the towns, it's usually the majority. Whoever has the majority of the players is going to take in the fee, and then we'll pay them accordingly. So.
But they'll present you with something, hey, you had 10 players, uniforms, and
some
whatever.
kind of an invoice or
Okay.
whatever.
But
Like
we
that-
would, do we pay them more than what the Deerfield registration fee is? That's what I wasn't sure about too, is whether
Okay.
it's,
I wasn't.
Deerfield is $65, that's what we would give to the town. But if Candia is $85, does Deerfield kick in? Or,
Right,
you know, who pays the difference?
right, okay,
Right,
so that's a policy
That's a good
thing.
question for them. I'm not sure, you know, where we matched up with them last year, so
Okay.
I'll get in touch with them and figure that
Okay.
out.
I have a
Okay.
suggestion on that.
Sure.
That we pay what the rate is in that town. And if we have to eat, you know, 20, 25 bucks, whatever it is, then we do it for the fact that people are being inconvenienced to have to go to another town. I mean, through no fault of anybody's, but,
Right,
I mean, that's the least we can do, I think.
yeah, that's a good
It's a
point.
good
And
idea.
they're helping out the kids that weren't able to get into a
Right.
program here, so,
Sure.
you know, there's no reason to hold anything back from their registration fees.
One other issue that we were able to talk about was equipment, and I know when Derek was here, he was talking about bats. And we'd said, you know, we'd buy the bats as necessary for all the teams because of a change, but not having a major league team, we didn't buy any bats for the major league teams. So I don't know that we're responsible to buy a bat for the 4 kids that are playing in major leagues, you know?
Right,
If we had a team, we would supply the bats as the other towns will. So my point is, I guess I don't see us paying individual kids for a bat.
right. Well, one thought is, and this might be a sweetener, because the goal is to try to get the 4 kids on the same team, right?
When we can, when we can.
When we can, right, okay. But this bat thing, this is new this year, right? If
Yeah,
I,
it's a new
Yeah, they knew.
Yeah,
knew regulations.
I guess my thought is to, maybe to prorate something, like say 10 kids on a team, or how many bats, we'll pay for a bat or 2 for the team, you know, if they take our kids. I could see doing that, not all, I'm not saying buying
Well, I
teams,
think it-
and I know, is there a standard amount of bats?
I think if you're paying the town's registration fee, that covers uniforms and equipment.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay,
The link that he sent for those bats, they're $300.
yeah, I know, that was the, what I came up
One
with.
kid in 3 to 4 different locations.
Right.
It's a lot of money for.
Right. I think it's fair to note too, the format that Kevin and I came up with for the bats, I think we did 4 bats per team. So, I mean, that's not even one bat if you're talking 10 kids on a team.
Right,
But that's part of the registration fee.
Right.
all right,
Exactly.
so that's what, okay.
Paying then
Because that, wasn't clear to me
covers it.
what Derek was asking.
So those are the 3 points we want to touch on tonight, and we will respond to him via email with the rest of them when we have more information.
Yeah, there's a lot here, and there's probably a lot of information that has to be ascertained and verified and whatnot.
So Nick will put together his email response back, and we'll get it back to Derek.
Sure thing.
Any other comments on the, I know you guys just didn't have a real chance to look at it, but there's a lot there, so we'll all get a copy of what the response is back to when we get the answers. All right, you good, Ernie?
I'm sorry, what?
You good?
I'm good, yes, I'm sorry.
Recreation Commission vacancies, and thank yous. First off is vacancies. Melissa did hand in her resignation to the select board on Monday night. So we have that vacancy. Hers is a vacancy to fill a term. I think her term's up next year. And I believe we're gonna have another one. I believe Julie's going to be, actually, she's off officially now, but she's still here.
Yeah, from so,
You're gonna leave me. Alone with these people?
close
But-
by.
There's 2 things we have. We have a term to fill, and we have, 2 terms to fill, but one's a full term and one's to fill the remainder of a term. We are allowed to fill the remainder of a term by appointing someone that we have, if we have someone in mind. The full term, we'll put an ad out and see who's interested. Now, the decision we can make is, do we put an ad out for 2 positions, one to fill the term and one for a full term, and see who comes up and pick people that way, or do we have someone we'd like to appoint to fill out Melissa's term?
Sorry, I just cleared my throat. No.
Do we have a precedent?
Do we have a note?
I don't think, like I said, the precedent is you can fill a term, you can appoint somebody to fill out a term, if it's a midterm resignation. If it's a new term, you should advertise for it.
I see what you mean.
And I'm just thinking maybe with two, we can advertise it as 1 3-year term, and I'll have to look, but I think Melissa's is up next year, 2019. So that's, we have to, do we want to put it out for 2, or do we
Right.
want to, or we have someone in mind that we want to fill a term and see what happens?
Do we know of anybody that's expressed interest?
Yeah, there's a couple.
Okay.
Well, that's good.
One
Usually it's the other way around.
Wondering.
Yeah.
Can we talk to somebody into it?
In whatever capacity. I mentioned to Jeff, I'm happy to serve. I would be interested in being on the commission, but you have my presence and my volunteering either way. So if you can get 2 other strong individuals, then you can make life work. So I don't know if other people have heard. I know I mentioned Brian Fisher as someone in the community who expressed an interest. I don't know if anyone else has heard people express an interest.
What do you guys think? I mean, I'm,
Does
I
any,
think we should
how
open
about
it
Jeff
up.
D'Agostino? Does anyone know if he
Yes,
has?
he
any
has interest too.
He does have
Yeah.
interest. For either way, the partial term or the full-time term, or?
I'm not sure. He expressed interest when I knew Melissa was leaving. We talked, so. I'm, it'd be nice to fill it and get somebody in there
Yeah.
for the next meeting.
I
you know?
kind
Right.
of lean
Because
towards
we
if
got
we know
stuff
someone to
going.
appoint.
Yeah, why don't we,
and then-
2 sides of the street, like appoint and then advertise, and we might actually build up a pool that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, there may be others leaving in the next couple of years too,
Yeah.
so. We'll do that. I mean, I can get a hold of Jeff again, see if he's still interested, and Katie's interested, Brian's interested. Maybe seeing I spoke to Jeff first, I can ask him if he's still interested in filling out Melissa's term, and then we can post the other one and see who we get.
I think that's a good idea.
Okay.
And if you get nobody, you got me.
We got you anyhow.
Yeah.
And then the part of it is thank yous too. We will definitely send a thank you to Melissa, for sure.
Yeah.
Mm.
I-
Yeah.
And then
The
if anybody
photography
else,
alone, but
yeah,
Yeah.
well, she's still gonna do photos.
just, yeah,
She said she'd still do
Okay.
that, so we don't have to thank her for that.
okay.
But what are you thinking? I mean, a card, a little more than a card, or what do we wanna do?
Flowers, I think flowers.
Yeah.
Was
Skis?
keys, oh, yeah.
Yeah, she just got new skis.
I know. All right, well,
Season pass,
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's not a bad idea. Find out where she goes the most and.
loon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll put something together as a thank you. Anybody, and Ernie had put together a, kind of a job description, which I thought. was-
Right, yeah, just for food for thought, especially if we put it out there, we're gonna need something.
Yep, I think it's a good idea.
If anybody-
I did read it, yeah.
Okay.
It was good. Do we want to put anything in terms of like, what the expected commitment is? I remember a long time ago, no fault of his own, he traveled a lot, but we had one member, for the longest time,
Right.
we had a spot and he could never make it because he
Right.
just
Right.
traveled. So, and we all have that stuff come up, but
I think you did mention in there commitment.
Let's see.
You did on the meeting.
Right, generally meets once a month, currently, okay, or more as needed. And I think, it's kind of hard to say what he put out. Nobody, as you told me, nobody quits their job, Dwight. But, you're expected, you need to be here a majority of the time. Do you put a percent on that? And here again, you're expected to help out with the things that go on, but nobody's here all the time.
right.
Or to all of them, 100%. So that's kind of a tough thing to.
Yeah, it's tough to put a number down.
We can just say, you know, I think, I didn't bring it with me, but the way you wrote it,
Yeah,
you're kind of expected to participate in events as you can, and just
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
probably.
I guess the only omission Jeff suggested was on the opening paragraph, strike what was in parentheses, because I guess it isn't necessarily the chair, I thought it was, but thinking back in years past, the select board representative wasn't necessarily the chair.
Yeah, you have assist support with the execution of the various functions and programs that P&R department sponsors. I think that, you know, you're expected to help. I mean, like you said, you can't say you gotta be at 50% of them, or you gotta be.
Yeah, that's a, you know, and things happen. What if okay, this year you can, but next year, I don't know, something happens and.
Yeah, stuff that you can't control.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
And I'd also put currently the first Wednesday of the month. That can be
First
changed, but
Wednesday,
at
right, yeah,
least there's a date to let people know.
right, yeah,
I think with those two corrections, I'd be happy to,
sign off on.
yeah.
Any other additions, or?
Thanks for doing that.
Was there anything from the select board when it was first formed, or how did this group come to be? Was there an official
Bylaws or
Oh,
something.
document,
bylaw or
right,
something that governs you?
I don't know.
that's a good point.
Question. I can find out.
Oh, we could do it.
You ought to be a member.
You could research that.
Yeah, I'll look into that, see if there's already something set. I have a feeling there wasn't, but there might be. All right. So any other comments with that? Are we all set? I'll check with John and then make those corrections and we'll see where I'll also ask him where he wants this. Where do we put it? Where do we hold this as a document?
Right.
So, put that in there. Okay,
And do you want interested people to reach out to you directly, or do you want them to show up at the June meeting, or what
Yeah.
what would be their action item?
it'll be posted on the websites and stuff, and we'll put it on Parks and Rec site, and they can contact.
Any one of you?
I'll ask,
What's the process? How do you decide? What if you get an influx of,
Yeah.
8 people? Is it,
I think with
It
the
usually goes to the
committee, they
commission.
usually just nominate and
Right.
second and then take a vote. But
right, so it should come to the Parks and Rec Commission. So I guess, yeah, to me, interested people, and then I'll let everybody know. We'll put a date on it to respond by a certain date, and then see who responds. And maybe include this in, looking for commission members to do this, so. But that won't go out till I get an official resignation, or I guess you're just not gonna read
do I have to
it.
do anything? Because mine's just ending.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we'll just put it out as an opening. Okay,
I'm still around. Let's still help out. Be like Katie. Still
travel
around.
soccer. We want to do a travel soccer. We should talk about and make a decision on the Candia Deerfield collaborative here, I think.
Yeah, I don't think we'll get, well, essentially commit, and, I'm not sure what we need to do. Maybe identify a few people who can work on that, and maybe you guys can handle that, but it's just really to commit. And the reason I say that is I think it's a change, and people are gonna be saying, well, especially the rec people, because that was less clear to me, what is it gonna look like? And you know, it sounds like some of it, well, we're gonna be driving to Candia for some of that. And, you know, it's just some practical stuff that, parents, the sooner they know, the better.
Do you think stuff has to be answered before we make a decision to do it? Or just
No.
make the decision and say, this is how it's gonna go? Or we think this is how it's gonna go?
Well, I think we should commit to, so it's really the wording here,
Commit
should-
that we're open to it.
well, actively, you know, get in discussions with Candia, and like I say, a few people, maybe a committee or something, and say, okay, this, iron out those details, so say come the end of June, I'm thinking, because for the fall, I think people would want to know.
Yeah, because we usually do fall signups before school's out, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so I think, yeah, so that puts us about 6 weeks,
Yeah, we'll be here before we know it.
yeah.
Be quick, yep.
So, you know, I'm for committing to moving forward, you know, unless there's something that's a showstopper, and I'm not sure what that would be, especially given the discussion we had. You know, it was pretty positive. It was just, here again, I had my parent hat on, think, in the sense that, okay, where do I gotta be, and, you know, who's gonna get who where?
I think the way I got it was, if you want your kids to travel, you'll go to Candia. If you want to play rec soccer, you stay in Deerfield, and it'll be like it has been.
Okay, and, yeah, okay,
Around
that
the
was,
year.
this wasn't clear to me, and if it's that simple,
We
we don't have a lot of work to do, I guess, but I guess we need to commit to it, and,
The question, I think, is how many kids from Candia are gonna come to the rec program?
Right.
right.
And I know that's, I guess that and how many are gonna go away is, and you may not know that till registration.
Right. But if people know what to expect, they can best make a decision. That's true with the Candy people, too.
Yeah,
You know, it's a change for them, and they say, what do you mean, I'm doing Deerfield now?
yeah.
Um,
But it didn't sound like they had many kids that.
I think it was like 30 or
Yeah.
35.
Yeah.
It's only to a certain level, too.
Yeah.
Right.
They don't have rec all across the board. I think, was it third and,
8 to
What was
16
it?
years old.
There's a chart
I
there.
think so,
I
yeah.
can't remember what the age frame was, but
Was it
8 to 16.
they don't
That they
offer it to
travel.
everybody
Yeah.
right now.
40 non-Candia kids.
Yeah.
So I'm open. I think it's a great idea. Give those kids that, and those parents that are interested in traveling, the opportunity to travel, the registrations, and, you know, the financial part of it needs to be hashed out, so we don't have another mishap. People looking for money and so on and so forth, have some guidelines and some policies set in place so that, you know, it's clear and clean. And I think it'll be a positive program for those that want to travel.
Well, I know with Candia, the kids that play, like, because my daughter plays Candia, we just register, they have their own registration. So we don't have to, we wouldn't pay
We don't do
Deerfield
anything.
and then send them money.
Yep,
You just register with them.
perfect.
Now, I'm assuming that's what they would do with us. They
Right.
would pay our registration fee and
Mhm.
just pay Parks and Rec directly.
Yep,
So there shouldn't be any mishaps. I believe they provide the first uniform as part of your registration. And then if you need, like, my daughter just grew out of hers, so we have to pay for her uniforms here on out. But that's all laid out to you in the beginning, so
Yep.
there's really no money that has to switch hands.
okay. Yeah, as long as they're directed to the rec desk.
Yep.
To sign up for Parks and Rec
Yeah.
soccer here,
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll be fine.
I think that's just something Nick and Kevin will have to work out with Rob and
Oh, yeah.
Rob, like, hash all those details out and start advertising.
Yeah, maybe even get a copy of, they must have when you sign up your registration, you must have a list of, you get this, it costs this, and,
Shauna takes care of that usually, but I can definitely find that
I mean,
out
that's
for
what,
sure.
something we could get, and have a link to that, or even have that on our soccer page, so that people can go in and say, what's it really cost to travel, what's it mean, and that, you know,
Yeah.
maybe have that.
Yeah, that'd be really useful, I
Okay.
think.
Yeah,
Okay. So it sounds like we're, well, we want to make a motion that we want to proceed forward with the Candia Deerfield collaborative effort in soccer with more information to follow, or something.
Let's see. I move that we move forward with discussion and commit to, with the idea to commit for the creation of a new combined travel rec programs between the Canada Youth Association and the Deerfield Parks and Rec Department.
I second that.
Any comments or any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Right, thanks, Ernie. Okay, Snack Shack concession discussion. I know Nick sent out an email with some concerns about staffing,
Yeah.
or lack of staffing.
Yeah, just in the past, it's, you know, Deerfield has put it on the coaches to assign their team parents to, you know, just do one, take care of it for one night or one of their games. I know last year being my last year, or first year in the baseball program, it wasn't very effective. The sport just wasn't there for that. I found myself in there, myself running this concession stand at times, so we just gotta come up with a better system for it. Or otherwise we can't have it at this time, because it's, you know, it's just not the best use of Kevin or I's time to be manning a concession stand. And a couple of the coaches were outspoken about not feeling like they should have that responsibility, to have to pin the coach or pin the parents to running the concession stand. So it's really an amenity. It's a good thing to have, especially for out of town teams that come in and, you know, they're coming around 5, 6 o'clock where it's dinner time, and you know, it's really nice to have that. But at the same time, we need the support to be able to run it. So, open to suggestions on how to handle that going forward, if anybody's got them.
Do they not have the parents aren't willing to do it? Is that getting a lot of, what's that?
There's no stick.
Right.
There's no
Requirement.
No incentive?
penalty or consequence if we don't, so.
I know my brother's family, I go over to Maine to watch them play, and the parents, they're in the, you know, one of them is in the concession, running it, cooking burgers, doing whatever, while the other one watches the kids, so that's how they do it, and I don't know what other towns do we?
That's how it's done almost everywhere.
It's common to be a requirement, you know, as,
Yeah, I mean,
for not an expectation, but a requirement for parents to staff whatever kind of food concession they have in other towns, yeah.
as long as I've grown up and attended all these youth games, that's how it's
Yeah.
been. It's always parents
Mm-hmm.
in there, so.
And if it's not staffed, you forfeit your game.
Wow, really?
Yeah, because there has to be.
It has to be, so-
Yeah, you're right. Unfortunately, that's
And it's not a
kind of human
huge
nature.
issue for these coaches. It's an email that they should send out to their families. This is what we need, and
Here's the
we
schedule.
need a sign-up sheet, and
Yeah, first come, first served, sign up.
Yep.
Simple as that.
I don't,
A couple of the teams were really good about it last year, but just across the board, it wasn't well supported. You know, a couple of coaches sent out Sign Up Genius, that worked great for a couple of them. But others, they just didn't want to be bothered by it. So, it's just gonna be a widespread effort, I think, to make it work. So, if we have to put some kind of a guideline in place where we do have a forfeiture of games, I mean, it's not like we're asking a ton. I mean, it's one night. If you put the average out there, they play 12 games, you have 12 kids on the team.
how many games is it per night? Just one?
And that's the
One
other
in each
thing
field,
too.
or-
I mean, you know, you're gonna sometimes have dual games going on, so could be even less than that. So,
Or you'd have two parents in there.
yeah, two parents
Two
are,
parents in there.
you know, just working at it together and.
So how do we go forward and get parents? I mean, I'm out of it far enough that all I hear now is parents don't wanna do it, parents don't wanna do it. So how do we get parents to do it? Parents?
Katie's idea was, or
I
Suggestion.
It's a bad way to, it's unfortunately a bad position you have to take, but I think you have to make it manageable.
Do we do it this year, or do we close the concession this year and start next year?
Are you gonna be able to stock it with supplies and burger, or what's in there for food?
I mean, there's nothing as of right now, because we weren't sure we were going to do anything with it. So, you know, in the past, we've solicited donations for it. I know Joe went out and bought a few things last year as well, just to keep it up and going, but you can go either way with it. Now, we're already playing games though, so that's something to consider as well.
Do you have an
So.
opening day ceremony planned?
That's another conversation we're probably going away from just because of the situation at Hartford Brook right now, which we can follow up on.
Well, I was gonna say, that would be a nice line in the sand, maybe that any games, any home games after opening ceremonies.
Right.
Um,
True. So,
What do you guys, as parents with kids and coaches, what do you think about, do you need the concession? Do we need to have it this year, or do we?
It's nice, we were in Nottingham on Monday, and it's nice to have an option to feed your
Mm.
kid a burger.
Mhm.
That's probably the water. I mean, if the concession stand's not there, you don't have any water, right? 'Cause no potable, I know the,
Right.
I mean, maybe for this year, not do the burgers and dogs if it's too late, but at least get chips and popcorn and
Snacks.
water, Gatorade,
Yeah.
all the bars. yeah.
Easy
stuff
stuff.
like that. They can, if they're super hungry, they can have something.
Right.
How many nights a week are we playing down there?
pretty much every night. I mean, there's something going on.
I'd say 2 to 3 nights a week.
Or games, home games, 2 to 3 nights, and then Saturday, two
Saturdays.
games?
So you're looking at 4 days a week.
Yeah, the 2 to 3 days would probably include Saturdays.
And if you have any makeup situations, it could easily be a game every night of the week, so.
But is Saturday, how many games on Saturday?
It could be anywhere from, usually 2. You'd be one on softball and then one on the baseball field at least. Now, on the other side, I know probably at Hartford Brook, there wouldn't be a way to do concessions, because that's not
No.
ready yet. So,
Mhm.
I mean, that's, do you maybe consider, okay, this year you take concessions off the table, then you relaunch them both at the same time with a plan in place? That's something else to consider as well.
That's kind of where I was going at this point of the game. You know, we can set this up and say, okay, we're not having it this year because,
So we got a lot of feedback from the league that we're the only town not participating, and it reflects real poorly on Deerfield. But
we did, or you're
No,
saying,
you could just say that next year
Yeah.
when you relaunch, you could say that the feedback from the other towns this year was.
yeah, why not?
you know,
We're an outlier, yeah.
No, it's true when everybody else offers it, so.
Yeah, it's expected, I think, most people who go to these things.
It's a nice thing for the spectators, too,
Mm.
you know, you're going to watch
We
it.
have the facility too to do
Yeah.
it. That's what's
Right.
frustrating to
Put
me. but-
somebody in there, that's all.
Right.
I know, too bad we can't get like some high school volunteers and
Yes.
community service.
Yeah.
I did reach out to, a couple of school groups too, and there wasn't much interest there, so.
It still goes back to the parents. I'm sorry, I remember how many years we spent running
Yeah.
that thing, and
Yeah.
you gotta step up and help. Or you're gonna lose something, and maybe it's time to lose it.
I vote take it down. That way they can see what they're missing, and maybe there'll be more drive next year. And there'll be more participation and more volunteering to get
Well,
it going.
it could also be that the commission and Parks and Rec wasn't enough upfront with what's going on, and
Yeah,
have lost that piece of it. So now we're gonna come back with Hartford Brook and Bicentennial with a plan. Parents will be expected to fill a game, or your team will forfeit that game. But I just thinking now it's too late, maybe not fair, because somebody may say, all right, well, my kid's not gonna play then. And, I'd hate to have that happen, but I'm just thinking at this point, we shut her down for this year, and maybe during soccer season, we can work on improving there, and then that'll follow through into baseball.
Like, yeah, that should actually be part of soccer too, if you ask me.
Mm.
Yeah.
So we can roll that out.
I know
starting
when
with
Jeff was
soccer
here
then.
talking about soccer, he's like, well, why can't we run it? He was more concerned with what it was offering than getting it. He felt we could get it running with parents.
Mhm.
And I think we need to be more upfront at this point. Parents haven't had to maybe for whatever reason, and now it's back to, you have to. So. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, well, I guess, I'm inclined to agree with you. I guess what we could have in our back pocket, if there's a big enough outcry, and here again, it might get, if we have a really hot spring, people be looking for water. We could easily get water and granola bars and odds and ends, finger packaged foods, whatever. That doesn't need any cooking or preparation and minimal attendance. But we can use it to say, hey, look, we'll do this for now, but you've got to staff the thing. You know, that's just if we get a lot of pushback, and I can understand the water aspect, because, you know.
Well, that's what I'm thinking, is do we wanna put a trash can down there with ice and water for a game and have it
Water
available?
bottles, oh, yeah.
You know, this year, just let it go at that, buy some water at Sam's Club or something and have that available down there.
Okay.
And let the coaches know, or, you know, I don't know how you regulate it, that's
That's
you
already.
can't sell it either, you know, it's really.
Yeah, that's gonna,
Won't teams bring their own water? You tell your kids to bring water, and you bring a jug, you know, Gatorade cooler?
yeah, well, the teams generally, well,
Kids
because
usually
they know
bring
they
their
can't fill up down there, so I imagine they generally bring something. And the teams should be covered, but like I said, I don't know, that's a little bit of a concern I have.
I wonder if there's any way we could get, you know, if there's, how many kids on a team, you know, if we can get a case of water to a coach for a game, and let them be responsible for maybe 2 cases to the visiting team and his team.
Oh, that's an idea. Actually, that'd be a good courtesy thing.
But then, yeah, and just say, this is what we're gonna do this year, no food, but at least the, you know, concerned with, I'd be afraid somebody'd forget their water bottle, or, you know, not bring it, and then one kid wouldn't have enough water.
Right. And that always happens,
Yeah,
especially.
I think maybe.
Actually, that's a good way to go. Provide a case per game.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a lot of money to buy a case of
No,
water.
and like I say,
Right.
I think it just shows some concern on our part, but here again, an underscore that, you know, we don't have the support for the snack shack, and,
Right, but we are concerned with,
right.
you know, hydration of the kids.
Yeah, it's not total pulling the rug out, I guess.
Yeah. What do you think? Good idea, what do we wanna do, yes?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I mean, it's good for now. So is it gonna be one case for the home, one case for the away team, the visiting team?
Yeah,
I think one
Yeah.
case would be enough. I mean, you can get a case that has 40 bottles in it
Okay.
if you go to Sam's Club, so I'd almost think that would be more than enough.
yeah, I'm thinking,
Well, there's different sizes, and how many on a team typically?
as I said, 12 to 15.
Yeah.
Probably an average of 11 to 12.
You can get, you know, I think you can get cases of 24, so if everyone has 2, I guess, in theory, and I guess it wouldn't be
Yeah.
wasteful either,
That's what I was thinking, it was 24.
yeah.
And if it's hot, how are you gonna keep it cold?
I would leave that up to the coach.
I know, I guess that's where I
They
think.
can bring a cooler
I
with
know.
ice.
Why don't we, wouldn't it,
most
it's
of
probably my green side of me goes, oh, I can see all those plastic
Oh,
bottles in the
yeah.
trash,
Yeah,
is what I'm seeing,
Yeah.
and like, why can't kids bring bottled water and a coach bring a, you know, a jug, you know, for if you need to fill and you know, like, I'd rather see us give out Deerfield Parks and Rec water bottles, and they will have that, and they can fill up in
Oh,
a
I
jug
see what you
down
mean,
there,
yeah.
because we'd never recycle down there, and it's just,
It doesn't happen.
no.
Yeah.
But, and it's putting more on those guys to go get water. I'm like, I don't know, our kids bring their water?
That's what I was kind of curious. Katie's one of our coaches, how you would feel about, you know, the water situation and, you know, being
All right.
responsible to hand that out to, you know, your team as well as the away team.
Yeah, it's like one more thing
Right.
to.
do you have a
check
team
around,
parent?
Take care of what's
Do you have a team parent?
No, because that's there's no role for them, right? I think other teams do appoint team parents to bring oranges or something after the games, or,
Yeah,
we have 4 coaches, so it's a good group, but the problem is what? Is that there's no concessions for the people attending the games to be able to have snacks, water, food. So I don't think you're solving that problem by bringing water for the players.
but my concern is just the players,
Mm.
that they're hydrated,
Access to-
that they have water if they forget,
Yeah.
or the parents forget or whatever, and they just come down and it's 90 degrees and they're playing and they forgot their water bottle. And you can't drink the water down there. I'm not worried about family, friends getting food at the snack shack at this point. I'm just thinking more the players and coaches and
Mm.
stuff.
Is it advertised that the registration fees cover anything like this? Like, the snack shack or,
No, I don't think, that's what I'm thinking is when we go move forward, part of registration is you will be responsible for, working the snack shack and maybe, asking for a case of water for the season, something like that.
you know,
I mean, I know last year when we had hot games, we brought a jug, we have a igloo 5-gallon
Mhm.
jug that we brought for our team. I don't know if every team does. I think you could put a few cases in the snack shack and make them available, make sure all the coaches know that they're there in the combinations, so if there's a need, you have someone who can go grab them, and then if they run out, then you restock them, versus trying to coordinate delivery each game.
I was just gonna say the same thing.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
keep a couple of cases indoors, and
Well,
if they need it, then it's there.
They have access to the shack?
Snack shack.
Yeah, all the coaches have the combination.
Well, that's fine, that's a great idea.
Is there still a fridge in there?
There is.
That's
Yep.
a great idea.
Yeah, I like that. So we'll supply it with what? Sorry, Julie. Well, we can still do
But
this.
it wouldn't be the shotgun approach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that turning bad, messy.
Mike doesn't know how to use an old school bike, so we might have some coaches that he complains about that every time.
So, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I also, if people forget water, they're gonna,
I know, but what did we do in the past? I mean, when if your kid forgot water?
There was a snack shack open,
Yeah.
volunteered, staffed by
their
parents.
parents, they
Yeah,
had
there's a
water
buck,
and
go get a
soda,
bottle.
plastic.
But it wasn't always, I mean, I remember being down there, they're not being open. Wasn't always open,
And you just don't get it.
yeah.
our parents have to leave and go get something.
You gotta go to Yanni's.
Yeah.
All right, it's all
Okay.
good discussion. I'm not sure the best answer for this year.
Right, and it's a concern the parents have about not, the snack shack. Is it about them having access to water? Is that our, more, like, what
I
you're
think that
thinking?
came up, I
Just
kind
from
of brought that up
Their
as,
concern is they just don't want to do it, but they'd like it open?
I don't know.
I guess we'll
know.
find out.
Yeah,
If we pull the plug, we'll find out.
right. I mean, all I've heard was one coach that came in and said, my parents aren't gonna work in
I
it.
think, was that when, I remember,
Yeah.
I think Alan came in and was talking
You
about
didn't think it
that.
was their responsibility to work that or line the field or do any of that, so. And I don't know if you've heard other,
They expressed it again at the coaches' meeting for baseball as well, that they just didn't feel like that was a responsibility they should carry. So,
Yeah,
we
it's
took that in there.
It's interesting, because as I go and watch, I'm watching some high school baseball, and I'm watching my nephew's high school team after the game. They're all hanging out for another 15, 20 minutes, cleaning up the field, raking it, and doing all that stuff. So it's not something that just, they've grown up with it. That's what they're used to doing, Little League, majors, and now in high school.
And I think that starts with the coaches.
And I mean,
we always did it.
Yep.
yeah, I don't know, what did Co-Brown
And it
do? Did
wasn't a
kids do
requirement,
the
was it?
field? Dwight used to coach there
Oh, yeah.
at Co-Brown,
Yeah, you get
Kids.
raked after each game by
right,
the kids.
so,
I mean, they didn't line it pre-game, but they
right.
cleaned it up afterwards.
All right, so concessions, what do we wanna do? I think we decided not to have it this year, right? We're gonna close it down and work on a real plan and program for soccer and then follow through to baseball and express that it is the parents' responsibility to run it.
Mhm.
And we'll have to come up with a consequence, be it forfeit a game or,
I'm sure there's plenty of other templates we can get from other towns.
Yeah, why don't we
regarding
could ask
that,
like
so.
Raymond, they have I know the statute.
Candia has, well, I don't know what Candia has now.
What does Candia
They do.
have?
They have a snack shack, at the soccer field at least.
Yeah. Yeah, baseball, they used to have one there too, but. All right, what do we wanna just skip the idea of water down there or throw some in the concession building just to have it?
The water's a
that's a
good
good idea.
idea, because, everybody that comes to town, they're used to seeing stands open everywhere they go, and we're kind of letting them down, so water's a minimum. I think it wouldn't be too hard for these guys to go out and buy water every couple of weeks and just throw a bunch of cases in there. And, maybe we look at getting some recycle containers down there. How does the trash get taken out of there? Who does that?
We do. Once a week.
Throw it in the van or in the trailer or something?
Yeah, we hook the trailer up and we take it up to the transfer station.
So could we get some recycle-only
Yeah.
containers for down
I
there?
mean, we have recycled containers that are labeled that way. People just don't use them that way. You know, they just throw whatever in whatever.
I know.
So it's not, you know,
Right,
it's not a matter of that. So,
Well, we should at least put them out down there.
If there's only,
We've never put them out down there, though, have we? Because I've never seen them. I've never seen, like, you know, just the trash cans with the
the
hole in
top
it for,
in.
so you can throw your bottles in.
Maybe look at getting, kinda like if you go to Fenway Park, they have a specific one to say recyclable, one to say waste on it, maybe
Yeah,
kind of revamp the containers that are down there, maybe
you
that
can
that
put,
can
like
get
you
used
said,
in the right way.
put the tops that just take the bottles,
yeah.
you know, at least it would,
Yeah, because if you just have two trash cans and just label it, if it's, you know, people aren't, they forget, and they just throw it in, but if you have it where it's just a hole, like, oh, that's the
The
recycling.
queue, yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
point, yeah.
Figure that out.
Yeah, try that and see if it works, you know. It's not that hard.
No, no,
it's
yeah.
just a commitment. So,
But as far as the shack goes, you know, next year and stuff, I mean, we'll see what people have to say. I mean, if they want it, but they don't want to support it by volunteering, then what do we do?
Yeah.
We hire people to go in there and we raise the rates. You
Right.
know, you're gonna get it one way or another.
Well, I think,
Either you volunteer or you're gonna pay for it if you really want it.
I think what might help us with that is your breakdown of cost too, what baseball, you know, what's the fee go to? And if we lay that out to people and show that we're not making money hand over fist and we can't afford people to run it, then, you know, that can be information maybe that people will realize, oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
We can do that. Okay, so let's continue the discussion and maybe you guys can look at Candia or neighboring towns and see what they have for, when you sign up, how are their parents told that they have to work? How is their concessions set up? And continue this later on. Anything else on it? Adult softball.
adult softball, I guess we're just looking forward to the season and trying to figure out if we want to stick with, we sent an email out about this, I think all you guys read, kind of what the questions were. The format for registration, we keep it the same way as an individual registration where, you know, we create this giant pool of players and place them how we see fit, to maintain parity, which I know is a big thing that we want to keep going. Or potentially open it up, you know, to people to create their own teams, and see how that comes in. I know part of the reason this discussion got going was, I think there's a team out of Northwood that, a gentleman gave me a call and was looking to see if we could take them on, from out of town, since this will be the first year that they're not running a team, or running a league. So they have, you know, a decent pool of players that still wants to play, they just don't have a place to do it. So they were curious as to if we'd take them on. So that's something that we can talk about. I guess parity is the big thing deterring those that don't want it to happen, from creating teams or having the registrants create their own teams, I guess is what we're trying to say. So thoughts and questions on that, I guess.
You plan to use Hartford Brook for softball, for adult softball this year?
We
if
certainly
you need
can,
it?
it's totally open, so, yeah. So if we were to grow it, if we were gonna grow because people created their own teams, we'd have the field space to make it happen.
Well, I've been involved in this thing since day one, and it's been a great program, but I don't have any problems with trying something different, you know, accepting a team from Northwood, see how it goes, you know? You don't have to lock yourself into doing this for 5 years. It doesn't work. You know, like you said, it doesn't sound like it's a stacked group of people, so.
Was it
It was just
one
one.
team, right, or enough, a group
Yeah,
of
just
people?
one so far, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I'd be open to that. I'd also be open to considering people getting their own teams in. But again, you know, the worry, the concern there is parity. I mean, you don't want somebody putting a monster team together and kicking the crap out of everybody and making it no fun for everybody else. We don't want that.
I mean, the
But-
league right now is already kind of put together by people playing with their friends and stuff.
yeah, we take, requests into consideration and stuff at that.
Because teams have been rather the same for the most part for the past few
No,
years.
he's right.
So
I mean, if you did that, you'd probably see a lot of the same faces on the same teams,
yeah,
right? There really wouldn't be much change, I imagine, because
Yeah,
most
it's
people are.
A slower registration, because now you have one individual who has to pay the town $700 to register a team versus $20 from me and $20 from Mike, $20 from Nate.
Well,
That's, you're shifting now I've got to organize my team.
Well, you could decide who it's gonna be. I mean, these guys could still use Rec Desk and
Right.
still collect money on an individual basis.
Yeah, the form could say, I want to be on Katie Libby's team, and so you just register
Wouldn't
yourself as an
necessarily have to be
individual.
on the coach, I don't think.
Yeah,
that's
but,
the way it's always been, really. Because
Yeah.
the forms have always had a spot,
Yep.
requirements who you want to play with. And then, like when Nick and Kevin, or when Joe used to put in the softball meeting, I would go, Dwight would usually be there, and everyone would just sit there and hash out all the teams.
and there'd always be new people that you didn't know, you had no clue,
Yeah.
and you take on whoever, or you knew of a weaker versus a stronger, and you'd try to,
Yeah.
and it always seemed to be, every now and then, there'd be a, whoops, that
Yeah.
team, one team that just really struggled, but for the most part, it got to be pretty even.
That was my team last year, just saying.
I didn't want to say names.
That's why I like how it is right now, but I'm not opposed at all to
Yeah.
letting Northwood or someone come in and have a team, as long as they know that they have to have a minimum of, is it 2 females or 3?
I think it's
It would all depend on the total number in the program, but, yeah,
So I think it was,
you would have to set that as a guideline for sure, for all the teams coming in.
And we currently, I think it's worth noting that we do have a lot of out-of-town people that play as it is right now. I know there were a
Yeah.
bunch on my team last year. So taking people from out of town, I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
think
we've
that's a
always
big,
done it.
yeah,
Right.
I don't think
So,
that should be an
just to
issue.
make an all-Northwood team, I don't know what the big deal would be.
So long as it's not the Northwood All-Stars.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
But we won't know that until 3 innings in, I guess.
If you get that
Could be one.
Yeah, it seems to me if we keep it the same, and we had that line on the form, our intention is to, I want to play for the Northwood, whatever, some kind of reference, they can make a common reference, and the night of, somebody's bound to recognize if they're really that good, because the Northwood's not that far away, and that'll be a chance at least to kind of say, okay, it looks like, you're not gonna upset the scales here and run away with it. Because, it sounds like parity, is in everybody's best interest anyway, so you need a shot at it. So for them to come in just to block, it's an unknown, and you won't know it, like I say, until you're into it.
How many teams were there last year?
I believe it was 8 last year.
And once they find out, if we go ahead with this, that we're accepting a team from Northwood, maybe more will want to come over too.
From other towns or
Yeah,
another?
or from
or
Northwood
Northwood,
itself,
yeah.
yeah.
Most likely, yeah.
So keep that in mind.
We can always have a cap on it too. We don't have, we can cut it off at some point. It's
You
not like
say
we have to
10
accept
teams is
every
always,
team,
yeah.
you know. I mean, 8's a great number, and Dwight, you know that with scheduling, so.
Yeah, but if you open up Hartford Brook, then you can
More flexibility.
couple more in without any trouble.
Sure.
All right, will the snack shed be open? Sorry, just had to throw that in there.
You gonna run it?
Sure.
In the
White
middle of
little
innings.
sign, yeah. I'll run it on my day.
All right, so it sounds like adult softball, we're gonna open it up to the Northwood team that's asked. And teams are gonna be formed by like a team captain, but registration will be individual.
Yeah, keep it the same.
That's how it's been, yeah.
Keep it the same.
We should keep it
And,
exactly how it has
Okay,
yeah.
just the
And-
only thing different is
All
adding
league I
Northwood's
played
team.
in,
Yeah.
team captain, coach
Yeah.
turned in all the money to the league. The all league that I've been in, the team captain collects all the money from players and then turns it in. So this is actually kind of new to me, the way that this is being done, so I'm interested to see how this will play out. It's, but I can definitely see it can work, just something different that I'm not used to, especially the league that I'm a commissioner in, that I've been in for 4 years.
We did, I'm sorry, I'm talking about numbers.
You are.
Mike and I have, so I've played a lot, this will be my 12th summer, and I've been on probably 7 different teams, so we have always just kind of been a filler. I think Julie served in that role a lot too. And so by having the way it is now, it takes, we're a small town, and it eliminates my need to talk like politics, like I'm not getting recruited for any team, I'm just signing up, and Joe's gonna put me where there's a need, and he feels like it's gonna be equal for the league. So that's our, like, in support of how it's done now, is we don't have to hear it from our friends that we're traitors or we're switching teams, we sign up and we're husband and wife and you can put us wherever there's a need.
I call it being a free agent.
I'm a free agent.
Yeah.
Julie's a free agent.
And then we have a rainbow of color shirts, right?
Well, you can continue to accommodate that situation
Yep.
without any trouble, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think it's a good way.
And you guys will have help at the
Mhm.
team selections, because I'll make sure I'm there. You're usually there,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, I'll be a captain again.
And
I don't know
Paul
anybody.
Hellings is usually our captain, but I help him out, so.
Okay.
Will Northwood have a sponsor too? Because don't we, every team has a sponsor, so I'm
Good question. I can definitely reach out to him and see. Because, yeah, we typically do that too, so that's a good point.
Do we have sponsors set up still from like previous years, or is that something, do you know? Do they have to reach out to like Ace Ben Franklin and again, or are they automatically?
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, I'm sure we'll just reach out to everybody from last year, and then if we need to pursue new sponsors, we'll do that.
What do they typically,
That's a good question. I
Yeah.
have to look.
okay, I was just wondering.
Okay, we good? Good with adult softball?
Just a quick question. I don't recall, like, the money that comes in from the sponsors, would you use that directly to buy the shirts for the team and the hats, or probably didn't
That's part of,
encompass all that money, though. I think it was, what was it, like 250? Or,
I don't know, I'd have to look at it, Dwight.
I'm showing we had $1,400 last year in sponsorships.
Okay. So that'd be probably 200 a team. I don't know
Oh,
if we're missing a team or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
She told me there was 7 last year.
Just 7, but we had 8 teams, I thought.
She told me that you had 7 teams last year. and
Seven,
it was adult.
okay, all right, that would have been 200 a
Was
team
just
then.
7
I
then.
think we did have 7.
For
No,
some reason I thought it was 8.
there were bye weeks.
Oh,
So-
yes.
All right, so
Thinking of a different league.
the question about the other town coming in, you know, they should get a sponsor, and part of the sponsorship's money should outfit the team, but then
Right.
some of it maybe needs to come here to help support
Balls, equipment.
the lime and everything else.
The balls, yeah.
Yep.
Do you have to buy new bats every year, or?
No,
No?
no, we have those
Okay.
pretty well set with
We
those.
got Little League bats now, right?
Yeah.
Plenty of them.
Yeah.
Well, shouldn't Northwood, when they get a sponsorship, should send the money to Deerfield so that it goes into the pot, right?
Well, if they sent the whole sponsorship amount, yeah, then these guys would,
Get the uniforms and the
Right.
hats.
yeah, that
You just
would
add-
probably be the easiest, cleanest way to do that, yeah.
Mhm.
Would they have an additional cost because they're coming from out of town?
Well, you do charge
Is
a
that-
little more for an out-of-town player,
Yeah.
so, yeah, I would
Is it-
think probably that should go for that team.
And that's how we're continuing to do it, right, is by
Yeah.
player, or,
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, you got the rec desk, right? You might as well
right.
use it.
So, but the sponsorship, does that change, or is that the same for out-of-town team?
The sponsors aren't all from Deerfield, so wouldn't
Well,
matter what
I'd
it,
say
right?
maybe the sponsorship fee could be the same, but we're gonna get extra money because they're out of town. What was it, another $5 or $10
Mm,
Players.
yeah,
$10, I
something
think.
like
I think it
that.
was $10.
Yeah, so per player is more The sponsorship would stay the same.
I guess the other question is, what if they already come outfitted? Or what if they already have their shirts that they wanna use? Do they have to?
I think they just have to pay a sponsorship fee.
No
Yeah,
matter
it's-
what, no matter what, even if they're,
It's required by all the other teams
Yeah.
to have a sponsor, so they should be held to the same.
And we kind of have,
Pays for the shirts, and if they come with their own shirts,
Right, that's the
And,
Gotcha, okay.
where's the money go? Or maybe it's a reduced fee,
yeah,
I don't know, for balls and equipment.
yeah, they
Should
have
be
to,
something coming in here.
absolutely, they have to, provide for use of the field, the equipment.
Where does the registration?
Well, if they
I don't know.
come outfitted, then they can pay the town fee, maybe. Like what we pay as residents, they could, if they're already outfitted with their shirts, hats, then maybe they don't have to pay that extra out-of-town $10.
Treat them as another team, put them in Cotton Deerfield Parks and Rec,
yeah,
with a softball t-shirt.
right, because otherwise it's going to look kind of different if you end
Yeah.
up with a team from Northwood and down the road we get a Nottingham and they come in full,
Yep.
pants and different
Slime
shirts,
tag.
That's
yeah.
true, you should
It's gonna be
yeah.
like,
And then this way you can coordinate the colors.
Yeah.
It's all in the hands of Parks and Rec.
As it should be,
Yep.
actually, yeah.
They're asking to join our
Our
soccer
league.
thing,
That's
so.
true, yeah. I like-
I
yeah.
think
keep
keeping
it
it the
our
same,
house.
so they don't look different,
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
want them to be a part of it and not
Mhm.
stand out.
Be a lot easier too, the fee's the fee, and
Yeah.
Talking
just-
about like they're from another country. Northwood,
That- We know those Northwood people.
are they gonna know how to play the game?
They don't
Okay.
get our fields for practice time.
All right, we good with the adult softball?
Mhm.
Hartford Brook update.
So briefly spoke to Jack today. They're getting some deliveries in there this week, trying to get stuff set for the dugouts to be built on the softball side. Once that is done, we're gonna be looking to Harley rake the field now that we've got the weather to go out and do it. Following that, it's gonna be irrigation, hydro seeding, et cetera. And, hopefully we're gonna have that side developed so that we can use it next year. That's the big goal here, so. Be nice to have that entire field in use, 2019. So,
So if you play softball there, where will you play on the baseball field?
for adult softball, yes.
Do you have a schedule yet for Jack coming in to construct the dugouts?
He's waiting on, I know he's waiting on the rest of this delivery to be complete. Dugout pads have to get dropped. So once that starts, we still have to come up with a way to put power out there and shelter for his equipment in case it rains while he's working, because as we know, that was a 2 or 3 week project.
gonna be needed.
We've got the shelter covered. Page Street from Candia has agreed to donate a container. So
What was
I've been in
that?
contact with the Page Street
Page Street.
out of Candia. They just need to know when. So as soon as we know when, I can call them up and they'll get it down there and they'll leave it there for 3 or 4 weeks if we need it. That way Jack can lock up all his equipment, his tools, and the lumber. That doesn't answer the power issue.
You'll need a generator, that's way too far for a power cord. But I have one, I imagine we can come up with them. You wouldn't need much, some little small, quiet Honda 2,000 watt would probably be sufficient. If anybody's got mindful of that, maybe we can rent him one. Want me looking into rental?
I have one he's more than welcome to borrow.
Okay,
I mean, it's bigger than 2,000 watt, but I don't mind. We don't
yeah,
use
mine's
it.
pretty loud, it'd drive me nuts.
Mine's not a quiet one, but he could have it.
Put it on the other side of the trailer.
It's not
Yeah.
blaring, but it's,
Right.
I mean,
Well, the thing is, it's in it minute too, he cuts something, goes out, bang, 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 measure, you come back, so a smaller one might be better in terms of starting and stopping too. Is yours hard to start, I guess? It's probably gonna
electric
be.
start, it's,
It's got a battery, oh, okay, all right, oh, good, okay.
Yep.
Forget- Mine does not. It's,
Mine's
we don't wear the poor guy out. But I can add to that when you're done, Nick.
Okay.
Any Hartford Brook stuff, because I spoke to him this evening, and, the way he had it laid out is, we have preparation to do before the Harley raking, and I guess in tandem, you guys are gonna do some prep work for the pour, for the slabs, for the, dugouts very soon. Yeah, okay, so, Jack and I've committed to Saturday, and we're inviting anyone who wants to come along. There's a bunch of, it's basically shovel and dirt and raking. He described it as just pre-work before the Harley rake process happens. And so him and I are gonna be there Saturday at 8 o'clock. If you're of that mind or have the time, bring a rake, bring a shovel. I'm gonna bring some of that in a wheelbarrow. Maybe some brush cleanup. I'm gonna bring a chainsaw too. If you know anybody who might be willing to spend some time too, I've got some people I'm gonna call, but, like, more people are there, the less time, but he was estimating 3 hours, so. But it's in preparation for the Harley, rake process and
He told me
everything
the
to fall.
pads are gonna be delivered Friday morning at 8 o'clock.
Is that right? Oh, good.
That's why we have to get those,
Those, is it sheathing?
yeah. Yeah. So that's why I'm meeting them tomorrow to get pads to put down across the field so they can drive across it without ruining when they deliver the concrete pads. But I'm thinking when they deliver the box, the container, they're gonna have to drive
Yeah.
across there again.
Mm. Yeah. We shoot, we're shooting ourselves in the foot with that
Well,
one.
maybe we can leave the container on one end and we can lug stuff across. He can lug stuff.
Do you have how much room they need, Dwight, to get the container down there? I mean, I envision it as something like a flatbed that they're gonna back up
That's
and.
pretty much what it is. It's like a flatbed, tow truck kind of
A
thing.
roll off, yeah.
Is that 12 feet wide, do you think?
No, probably 8 feet.
8 feet? Okay, so I guess, I know there's room on the outside of the fence, but it's probably not 8 feet, right? And it drops off. That's towards the road. And that's gonna leave a mark.
Yep.
Unless, oh geez, we hadn't really talked that one through.
Well, he and I, we'll look at it tomorrow when we're there and see if there's
If it's
any,
feasible.
maybe he can come in and go around
It-
perimeter of the fence.
Yeah,
or
it all
something.
depends on that flatbed and of course their comfort level too, and is it a torturous path?
Right. We'll look at it
But anyway,
tomorrow.
okay, yeah, but anyway, things are happening in Hartford Brook, and, like I say, if you're bored Saturday, or no one's who's bored.
All right, Old Home Day.
Oh, actually, one more thing, I'm sorry, there's nothing scheduled at Hartford Brook?
No, there was originally games up there, but due to
Okay.
the,
There's no conflict there at 8 o'clock?
there's nothing this weekend.
Okay,
So, we had to,
T-ball's not there?
what's that?
T-ball's not there?
Oh, T-ball's up there at 9, sorry about that.
9 Saturday?
It's based
Okay,
on
so,
that,
all right,
yes.
that.
Yes, 9 to 10.
Okay, so 9 to 10, so we need to alter that.
T-ball is there. Thank you, Katie.
And we know we moved the game back over to Bicentennial, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, I'll take care of that, that won't be a problem, but, the only, Bicentennial Field this weekend, when do games end? I have that motion sensor that needs to be fixed.
The last one is tentative to start at 5. It's a potentially moved game.
Maybe I'll do a Sunday, nothing going on Sunday?
Practices?
Softball practice
Softball practice on
from
Sunday.
4 to 6.
In the afternoon, okay. Thank you. I'm all set, sorry.
Old Home Day. Seems like so far away.
Yeah, baby, oh. The summer's almost over.
Talk about that next meeting.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna start hitting it hard as soon as baseball is underway here. Just looking, hopefully gonna lay out a calendar of events for the day, you know, sometime around end of June, early July. That way we can get that out and people can know what they're looking forward to, for the landscape of the day. Also have, you know, a couple of fireworks companies that have sent out proposals to us already. I've got one of them right in front of me. I don't know if you guys know anything about pyrotechnics or fireworks, but this is kind of one of the proposals, so feel free to check that out if you want. That's working off a $4,000 budget if we have a similar donation from the Fair Association this year. I'll get in touch with them to see if they're gonna match that again. But yeah, a lot to get going on for that, for sure. So.
659 shells plus 500 shots as cakes.
You sure what the-
Understand that one. What's the cake? What's a cake?
Not sure what the cake is.
I guess the only thing I can think of is if there's a parade. You know, I know in years past we leaned on Mark Tibbetts, and it's just, the sooner the better, I think. You give him a heads up, hey, first of all, I'm not sure of the permitting process, but we gotta shut the road down and all that.
Right.
Maybe get that
Theme.
discussion.
Don't they
going.
usually have a theme and try to get people to,
Oh, yeah,
Parade.
right. Like who's gonna be the Grand Master or? But just the fact, are we gonna have a parade, and if so, there's things that have to happen in terms of permits and.
Right, we move on to No Stone Scholarship.
All right. I'm sorry, George.
that's what I was gonna say. How much is in the fund for scholarship? No.
I thought we had this year covered.
150, yeah, we
Around
do.
15, yeah, I know it's covered, but I just was wondering, around 1,500,
12 to 15, yeah.
okay.
It's just over $2,000, I believe,
Oh.
in the fund, yeah.
What's the deadline? What do we,
The deadline for it to be in is passed, but as far as us getting,
Yeah.
depends who the winner is, but if there's the winner or winners are at Concord, we usually like to get the information to Concord High School for their award ceremony, which is usually the first week of June, so I think I usually email them by like May, the week of May 18th or something like that. So, and then write up a letter that one year I went up and read it for the winners, and the other years we just send it in and they read it and call the kid up to accept the award. If the winner is from another school, we just, send it to the school. I think one year we had someone from Trinity win, and so we just sent it to the school, but their deadline, I think, is early too, because they do have an awards thing, but, so anyway, so we should decide if not tonight, by the, I would say like by May 15th at the latest.
May 15th, it's a Tuesday. You think,
I'm just throwing out a date, but it's
Yeah.
flexible. And I'm happy to continue if you want. I can write up the letter and get it to whomever, just to keep that process,
that would be good.
to the end here.
Do you think if we said, well, what are we gonna do for reviewing? I'm not ready tonight to make a decision. I haven't looked at them that closely, so.
Okay, so if we each make sure how do we want to do that? I know last year we went into the other room and we hashed it out and came up with our scholarship
Right, we
winners.
can't, well, how do others feel about, has anybody else looked at them to?
I reviewed them, but.
Yeah, I could have had, pushed. I came prepared to do that.
But if we,
Three good candidates there.
yeah,
It's not, they're not.
Yep.
Yeah, three good ones. It's not like there's 10.
yeah. I know, it's funny how it fluctuates.
Yeah, it is.
What do we wanna, I mean, have you looked at them?
No, I haven't had a chance to thoroughly look at them.
So I think we usually, when we go to discuss, we go to closed session though.
Right,
So whether we want to do that now or you want to set up
kinda
another.
have to,
Yeah.
because it's only 2 weeks away.
Right,
Right.
Either that or we're gonna give us a week and everybody sends in an email suggestion.
we could do some kind of rating, for you.
Have you had a chance to look at them? Dwight, have you?
Did you?
What's the board's feeling? I mean, do we want to go in and talk about them? 3 out of the 6 of us have
And there's
looked
3
at
of
'em
them.
and haven't, so.
We've got copies here for you guys too, if you wanna review them
Right.
tonight.
What's
Do
the
you-
board's pleasure?
Do you let people digest it, and do you do like an email vote, or do you have a special quick meeting for us to come back? Because you do have time constraint here, right?
Right, well, that's what I'm thinking.
I can
Calendar
have,
here.
I can review them and have my response for tomorrow via email.
Yeah, I can too, that's what I'm thinking is probably better.
That way we're not waiting the 2 weeks, you know, push it out too far, it's just one day.
Right, yeah, if we could actually do it, yeah, by, you know, have an answer by, probably by next Friday would be great.
So, refresh everybody's memory here. $1,000 goes out every year.
We have, we've done 2 500, but we've never set a rule whether we want to give one person, you know, 1,000 or one person, you know, where we're going to give 2 or 1.
We've always given 2 5s,
2 5s is what we've done, yeah.
so.
That's practice, I guess, yeah.
But you're saying it doesn't necessarily have to be that.
No, it doesn't. There's no, I think we did that our first year because of, we had 2 really good applicants and we just couldn't,
Stuck to it, yeah.
yeah, go,
Yeah.
so,
Would there be a proposal to do 3? If there's,
we want to read through it and
Yeah.
consider that?
Because we have 3 applicants, right?
Yeah.
We could do 1 500, 1 300, 1 200.
or we
We
could
could
do
do 3
5s.
500s. We have them.
Yeah, the money's in there.
That's what it's for.
But that means a
it's in there.
fundraiser for next.
Eating most of it up. When do we have the coffee house?
Not this, not,
Get in
that'll-
line.
not this fall. Yeah.
Somebody's, you know.
Is the money in there for 3?
Yeah,
Well, I think
there's $2,000 right now.
Yeah.
to truly make a decision, whatever, you know, for the money thing is, like, we probably all should be up to snuff. I guess whether, do we meet again, or we kind of do it by email with votes, or?
Can we do an email vote? Is that,
I think we can do an email. It's just-
and Amy can then chime in
Right.
as well.
Oh, that's right, too, yeah, I'm sure she would, her input's always good.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we'd be better to do that. Let's give us all a chance to
Digest
look
them.
at them.
Yep.
Okay.
So do we want to set a date, so the 15th?
It'd be great to have a vote in by no later than Friday, because the following week I'm headed out for college graduation, so I'd like to have that
Oh, yeah, behind you.
all behind me
Absolutely.
and have
So
that.
for your sake,
So we haven't answered, you want us to, we'll just reply to the group email
The group
by
email
Friday.
by Friday
fourth.
the 11th, or this Friday, this 4th.
when do you fly out?
No, I'm driving out on
Well, when do you leave?
the 17th.
Okay, so it's not Saturday morning.
No, and I
Okay.
usually, yeah, and I drop off of the letter to Concord High, so they have it and it's ready to go.
Well, can you do it by Friday?
Absolutely. Yeah.
You
Yeah, by
can
this
do it. I
Friday?
can do it. Let's
And
do it by
Okay,
this
let's do it
End
by
of
this
the-
Friday?
End of the day Friday?
Yeah, that's fine.
Just make sure
That's-
Amy
is it-
knows.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll let you know that,
Yeah, I'll call Amy and let her.
yeah, I'd rather, I don't want to put it the day before you're leaving or the week even before.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
the sooner the better.
Yeah.
Get it done.
Does anybody need copies?
Yeah, I'll take the printouts.
I'm good. Thanks.
Ernie, you're good?
I'm good, thank you.
And I noticed on 2 of the applications, they have the 2017 application, and I know I printed out, and where I posted it, it was a 2018, so I'm not sure, because I thought it was just 1, and then I looked at all 3.
Yeah, see this
One
one?
says
Two of 'em.
2000, because I changed the form, and I don't know where they got it from. I'd be,
Give them the
I'll have to
same
ask
set.
them, because I don't know if they got it off the
Julie's taking
forum.
one.
Right,
Trying to,
yeah, I just,
So,
Thank
on this vote, Jeff, how do you want this to come in? Do you want people to say, I want to give 2 at 500, I want to give 3 at 500 each?
I think the first thing would be, do we want to give 3 at 500? Do we want to give 3 at 5, 250 and 250?
Okay, so the information you want is how many you want to
How many
pass
do you-
out
you
and for
suggest,
what
yeah.
dollar amount?
Yep.
So you may have to take that information and then send out another email and say, these are the top 2 considerations, what maybe.
Right. Yeah, so list them 1, 2, 3 as your choices, and then you can add in, I want to go with 3, or split it.
Okay.
I think I would go 3 at 500 instead of 3 at 5, 250, 250.
Yeah.
If we're gonna do 3, I would do the same,
Mhm.
I think.
Although there's nothing to decide, really. Right? There's nothing to decide.
Right.
Right.
We're done.
If we're
We
doing
don't even
3.
have to review
No,
anything. We just vote on that.
we don't. But
Yep.
do we think they're all
They're all
They
good
all-
applicant, and they all seem to be pretty good. You've reviewed them too, right?
Yeah, all 3 of them look really good.
Yeah, no, solid, yeah, for sure. But that's,
There you
that's
go.
always the conundrum. I
And
mean,
the one young woman lives in Northwood now, but used to live in Deerfield up until 8th grade, is that what it was?
Yes, correct.
was she a graduate of DCS?
Yeah, I
She
believe
was,
she went
okay.
there all the way through. And she's currently works for our after-school program too.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
3 at 500?
What how do you feel, having not reviewed it? Do you want to do 3 at 5 or do you want to?
Call it a
I
wrap.
call it
Have you looked at them?
I have, and, you know,
That's
it's
the
tough.
usual.
Every year, they're solid. And, you know, I know the discussions, we tend to, from the outside probably looks kind of nitpicky, but we're, you know, in years past, I'm talking.
Yeah.
If you got 10, we can't get everybody $500. This year, it's kind of a luxury, and I'm not against that. No, I mean, they're certainly all deserving. It's,
I think
I
Joe
guess-
Stone would appreciate that.
yeah.
I think, thinking of Joe, if they're all,
No, you're good, no, you're good, you're good.
I'd be absolutely be okay with that.
So we can make a motion? Is that what we need to do?
sure.
I make a motion that we award 3 $500 scholarships to our candidates.
A second.
Any discussion? Dwight, you good with that?
We're,
Yeah, yeah.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So no emails, thank you.
It's done.
That's easy.
Hey, Jeff, before you wrap up, are you going to wrap up now?
Yes. Any comments? Anybody got anything?
Yeah, I just, before the last meeting, I sent out the financials on the different programs. I was just wondering if anybody had any questions on those. And, if not, I just, since the Hoop Classic is in the books, I've done one for this year, and now we have that to compare against last year. So just for informational purposes, this year the revenue was up $900 over the previous year. The expenses were up about $2,000 over the previous year. There was about a little over $1,000 additional this year in payroll because of the fact that these guys couldn't find the volunteer effort, so they had to pay their people. There was a lot of money spent this year on plaques. That was up about $1,200 over last year. Referees were up about $500 over last year. And T-shirts were down about $1,300 over last year. I think you guys found a new vendor, is that what you said?
What were the plaques?
We did all tournament plaques this year, all tournament team plaques for each division, boys and girls, as well as we did a team sportsmanship award at the end of the tournament. So on championship day, when we gave out the runners-up and the championship plaque, we did a team sportsmanship award. for one team from each division, as well as I think we announced the 5 winners for the all tournament teams for each division. So we tried to increase it a little bit, and then in place of the teams getting a runner-up or a championship T-shirt this year, we did medals. We found that to be more cost-effective for the teams, as opposed to the price of what a T-shirt would be with a screen print.
Do we take care of the gift certificate we were talking about?
Yes, we did, yep. Shipped that out.
Is that included in there, Dwight?
Probably not. That was purchased a couple of days ago.
Yeah, I don't see that here. Okay. So the bottom line on the Classic was, it earned about $1,100 less than the previous year. But still, it was a positive $3,600, or how much is the gift certificate, 100? So $3,500 net. That's all I got.
Great, thank you for doing that.
Sure.
Yeah,
that's Yeah, no problem.
hugely helpful.
All right, anybody else got anything?
I do have to get that shut off.
Okay, what?
We adjourn.
All right, get a motion, are you all set?
All set.
Motion to adjourn? I motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye, aye, Captain.
Did you want to see the? I think cakes are. Wait. Oh, there's some fireworks delayed.